Hi, and thanks for tuning in. On the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 attack and the subsequent war on terror that was launched by America, we try to understand what changes took place through an eyewitness who was in Afghanistan through the tumultuous events of a significant part of the last 2 decades. Major Sunil Shetty joins us. He's an Army veteran, an ex-journalist, an entrepreneur, and a US military contractor. Thanks very much, sir, for being on the show today. First off, I would like to ask you, sir, you were in Afghanistan since 2002, a year after US intervened in Afghanistan. You've seen the world change before your eyes. How did 9/11 change the world?
Thank you, Dipali. Thank you for having me. Well, I think all of us experience every time we go to an airport as to how 9/11 changed, the kind of security checks we have to go through. This was not the case. At least I am given to told that this was not the case before 9/11. 9/11 changed that. So that's your first thing. All those who are frequent flyers who travel, every time you go to an airport, there is an enhanced or different security checks you have to go through. So that's one. Apart from that, today you cannot use words like bomb anywhere, right? That's another thing. So
Yeah.
our day-to-day lives, whether you are in a particular place or you're traveling, it has been impacted. Like, for example, let's say you post something on social media, that's also under supervision, right? As to
Right.
what are you posting. So nice 9/11, it was not just the two twin tower that came down. It was not just the Americans went to invaded Afghanistan. There were much more with that impacted us. It's impacted pretty much every person, who's travels or has some presence on social media. You just cannot post anything and get away.
Correct. So America's goal was to uproot Al-Qaeda when it intervened in Afghanistan. Is the Al-Qaeda a threat any longer?
Oh, it is. It is. See, terrorism, whether you call them Al Qaeda, Taliban, Daesh, ISIK, whatever you want to call them, ISIS-K, whatever you want to call them, their names may change, but the ideology continues. If not today, this group, there could be another group, right? So, Al Qaeda, whether the threat has gone away, no, it has not. Whether it is still active and alive, yes, it is still, but we don't know how big or how small it is, right? Okay, there are various intelligence community reports that keep coming up. There are assessment by different strategic organizations, but then as a threat, I don't think it is gone away, nor will it go away. It will still, it will be found in another form.
So the Haqqani network, which has been designated as a US foreign terrorist organization, it finds significant representation in the Taliban cabinet. One of the terms was that you shouldn't have, of the peace deal was that you shouldn't have terror organizations in your government, but that's not been, that's not been followed. So how much of a threat is the Haqqani network?
Well, isn't that the joke? Terrorist or terror organization should not be part of the new government. And what you have is, other than terrorists, there's nobody else, right? In the new, I don't even want to call them government, because the moment we call them government, it legitimizes them. That's why, in a recent piece that I wrote for Chanakya Forum, I came up with a term for them. It is called Taliban, a government formed by, forces, through force and support by a foreign power. So what Haqqani, see, everybody knows Haqqani network has great influence in Afghanistan and in Pakistan, and Pakistan establishment, right? They have great control over this group. And what will they do? How will they, how things will pan out? We already yesterday there were enough videos, coming out of Afghanistan as to how the Taliban elements are using this opportunity to settle personal scores. What would explain a guy, full-grown guy, takes another guy into a drain and starts, starts beating him up, starts, it's like as good as waterboarding him in a nala. So what does it explain? This is just the tip of what we are going to see in coming times. So Haqqani network, I mean, everybody knew what they stand for. Everybody knew what Taliban stands for. To expect anything else than what they are right now doing and what they did and then what they would do in future, I think it will be foolhardy to expect that they would not behave the way, whether you call them Taliban 2.0, 2.30, whatever you want to call them. Come on, they're going to be the same. They're not going to change their color.
So besides the Al-Qaeda, which was the reason that took America to Afghanistan, what other terror outfits have now taken root in Afghanistan?
See, the initial, worry and initial reports, or even a lot of news reports are talking about is, ISIS being present there. Al Qaeda definitely is there. Taliban are there. We are also talking about. There are also these worries, growing worries that the Afghan Taliban that they call, and the Pakistan Taliban, they would come together. Again, what the other thing, right? Think of this. Pakistan is on grey list. Okay, it needs to clear its house. Okay, what will it do? The best thing for Pakistan to do today is send all these guys into Afghanistan, right? And say, oh, now our madrasas are clean. We have no terrorists left here. So great. Yes, it will help them in terms of getting rid of these people. Probably they will be able to get rid of them. But then all of them will find safe sanctuaries in Pakistan, in Afghanistan. It's only a matter of time we'll come to know. Probably you would see, what I hear from people on ground. There are people from Chechnya, right? So as time goes and as more and more, terrorist organizations start coming into Afghanistan, I can tell you it's going to be trouble for the whole region. Russia will not escape from it. I can tell you even China will not escape, right?
Right.
And the CIS countries which are not neighboring Afghanistan in north, India is definitely worried, and we have genuine reasons to be concerned. Iran, somewhere I had made a mention that today Iran may be keeping quiet, but Iran knows it does not want a Sunni dominated militant force sitting right at the at its doorstep. I'm sure they would have rather wanted today. They would rather say Americans were better off than having Taliban, Al Qaeda, ISIS. Why? Because with America, at least you know what to expect as Iranians and as the Iranian government.
Right.
But what do you expect from Taliban? What do you
Right.
expect from ISIS K? What do you expect from Al Qaeda? So I think what's happening in Afghanistan, this will definitely attract all the elements, all the terrorist groups and organizations into Afghanistan, and Pakistan itself will push its own element wherever they can or whatever control they may have into Afghanistan, and it would lead to a major chaos and crisis in the whole region.
So do you also expect to see a power tussle between these various terror groups and the factions within the terror organizations? And what does that mean for stability in Afghanistan, if that is a possibility?
Okay, see, the day they declared the acting prime minister and caretaker government, I think I must have tweeted also where I said, this is the start of the end, because in Afghanistan, what do you think all these Afghan local commanders and local Taliban elements, they fought for nothing to be relegated to a second class, power in the power sharing second class citizens, and given everything handed over on a platter to the Haqqanis? No.
Right.
See, Afghans, one thing is very clear. They have, their pride is the paramount for them. They are ready to die for their pride. It doesn't matter at what level you look at Afghans, whether you look at when you meet Afghans in day to day, or you meet Afghans in power corridors. They would not sacrifice their pride. So
Correct.
I am very sure it's only a matter of time when the fault lines will get exposed. The current the cabinet that they have put together, they will be clashes because they've just nominated people. Now what happens on the ground? You think Pakistan will not try to interfere in every ministry or whatever ministers they have created, they would like, they will try to have their finger in everything, right? And
Right.
that will be done through Haqqanis, which means if person A is head of a particular organization, he will be not independent to run it, right?
Right.
So going forward, these fault lines are going to become wider, and that would mean clashes within the current Taliban, as I call them, and that will also mean uh, quite possible. The fear is a civil war-like situation where the groups start fighting with each other. Not to forget, each of these groups come from different regions of Afghanistan, especially the south, right? And they
Right.
will fight. And my I'm going to stick my neck out and say, one, it is definitely bad for the common people because they will get caught in the crossfire. But also, this will be an opportunity for the resistance, the uprising, to kind of consolidate, together. Be it Ismail Khan forces in the west, or Dostam's forces in the north, or Panshiri, the Tajik forces under the Northern Alliance. All of them coming together, it will give them that breather they need today, because today what's happening is the complete focus is on Northern Line, the national resistance. If the Taliban element of the Taliban starts fighting within themselves, the focus will move out. It will be them, and once that focus shifts, the Northern Lines can grip together.
Right. So, coming back to 9/11, did America's war on terror succeed, sir, according to you? And going forward, what should a war on terror look like?
Uh, I think it's a quite a difficult thing to answer. Will it ever succeed? I have my doubts. As they say in the security, you may prevent 99 attacks, but one attack goes through, that has that just nullifies all that you did in the past. So, because see, the terrorists have the advantage, they will pick a time and place of their choosing. Yes, to a large extent, the security agencies can prevent it or minimize it, but can you really stop them? Difficult. And this is not, don't see the terror attacks in today's scenario. They've been there for centuries now, okay, in different forms. So, uh, so will that succeed? Will they stop? No, they have not succeeded. America did not succeed. But then I think when they started, their mandate was also, I think it was very fluid, and to best of my understanding, when they came with certain mandate, and then they kept changing the mandate. They expanded the mandate to include a lot of other things. Like towards the end, it was more about Afghan-led, Afghan-owned initiative within Afghanistan. So they may have come with one initiative, but that did not mean for all 20 years they were in Afghanistan with the same mandate. They were not. And I would like to add here as well that a lot of things that Americans did within Afghanistan really helped on the help people build institutions. But then, did that translate into getting handle over terrorism or terrorist organizations? No, I don't think that did.
Okay.
And
All
going
right,
forward, you
sir.
asked going forward what should be.
Yes,
I
going
think one
forward.
of the best ways probably is for the countries like India, basically democracies. Okay, I don't keep China into it because China, kind of plays both sides. So genuine democracies like India, US, the European Union, most part of Africa, they have to come together. Southeast Asia, they have to come together. It's only when governments exchange, information together. It's only when international organizations like the UN. You see, in this whole crisis, where is UN?
Right.
Where is UN?
Right.
Now, UN wants to hide behind the whole idea that, oh, we are not the ones who are going to call it. We'll only follow the mandate given by the countries. Oh no, you come out and give statement when it is not required, but you are completely absent when you are needed. So I think these international organizations need to become little more powerful. They should be able to come out and say and do things on the ground, right? So there has to be greater role for international organizations for us to get a better control on terrorism. Nations have to coordinate. Like-minded nations have to come together, and we have to call out these nations who sponsor terrorism, who use terrorism as a as a strategic tool, likes of Pakistan. We have to call out countries like China who would do anything and everything just to ensure that their own selfish interest is protected. So I think has to be a concerted effort from all nations, from countries, especially developed nations and countries, big nations, countries like India. But then, will that be the solution? Well, the jury is still out.
On that note, thank you very much, sir, for joining us. I'll leave it here for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Diwali.